Okay, so this exercise is training spinal flexion from the bottom to the top. So from the lumbar all the way up. And what you want to do is, a lot of times when you see the leg raise exercise performed, a lot of times it's performed mindlessly, where it's just kind of like this and you're using a lot of momentum and swinging. But we know that we want to put force into each facet joint to really kind of mobilize the spine and keep it healthy. So with that being said, what we're going to do is we're going to have some intent with it and really try to segment vertebrae by vertebrae. So what we want to make it look like, and you'll actually feel this more as an ab exercise in your abs because the abs are attached to the spine. I'm going to come up as high as I can with the hips. Right there, I can't get any higher with the hips. And then from there, I'm going to start to roll up vertebrae by vertebrae. So pelvis, lower back, lower middle, middle, upper. I'm gonna really try to round that spine. So I'm thinking about really trying to tuck that tailbone under. I can feel a big stretch there. I can kind of squeeze and get a good contraction in my abs. And then I'm gonna roll down vertebrae by vertebrae. So I'm trying to actively, piece by piece, push each vertebrae into the ground with nice control. So there goes my lower back on the ground, there goes my pelvis. Then I can bring the legs down, can bring the legs back up. Then again, I want to roll vertebrae by vertebrae. Big difference in that and going like that and jumping. And then when you do get all the way to the top, rolling up and that squeeze, same thing on the way back down. Big difference in pushing down vertebrae by vertebrae and letting a spot jump. Now, if you feel like there is a spot that wants to jump, then you want to ideally stay there for a little bit longer and really try to isolate that area. So really think about pushing vertebrae by vertebrae into the ground where it wants to skip, because usually that just means that that's where you don't usually see much force in your spine. And we know for a healthy spine, we want to be able to move them independently. That way, when we do load it globally, the force distributes how it should, and not just through a couple segments that like to move. And then let me talk about one more thing. Progressions on this as well. So over time, let's say you can't get up all the way either without jumping, then maybe you just do a negative. So you do have to jump to get up, but then go really slow down. And then as you build your strength, then you can try to roll up over time. So that's one thing. Now, if you get really good at rolling up, so when we do this, we can think about, instead of reps, you won't do that many reps because it's really slow reps. So maybe 3 to 6 reps is usually what I like to do. But it's more about the time under tension. So it's more about how long the set is. So let's say at first your sets are a minute long, and then over time they get to a minute 10, a minute 30, and then you get up to 2-minute sets. When it gets easy, you have a couple options. You can put ankle weights on your feet and then still work on rolling up vertebrae by vertebrae. And then when that gets easy, because that'll add some load there, 5-pound ankle weights on each foot, then you could go to a decline bench and then you roll up, and you have to fight gravity a little bit more with that decline bench. So that's another good progression there. And then if that one gets too easy as well, then you can always go to hanging leg raises, and then the same concept applies. You don't want to just throw your legs up, but really get the hips up, and then vertebrae by vertebrae start to tuck that pelvis under and really contract, really feel those abs contract.